We have come a long way. We've learned how to spot personal attacks, how to distinguish cause from coincidence, and how not to fall into the trap of false choices. We have built a powerful intellectual arsenal. But a skilled opponent doesn't always use loud weapons. Sometimes the knockout blow is a quiet whisper, a fallacy so disguised in the clothes of common sense that you don't feel it until it's too late. Welcome to Kojitaski. Grab your coffee because this is the episode where we conclude our foundational series, and we will expose 5 of the most subtle and effective fallacies. The 21st fallacy, a brilliant psychological trick that plays on our perception of chance. The gambler's fallacy. This fallacy occurs when we mistakenly believe that past random events have an influence on future random events. If you flip a coin and it lands on heads 10 times in a row, what does your intuition tell you about the 11th flip? Most people will feel strongly that tails is due, that its probability has become higher. This feeling is precisely the gambler's fallacy. In reality, the probability of tails is still 50%. The coin has no memory. It doesn't know it showed heads 10 times. Every flip is a completely independent event. A real-life example: a couple has 4 boys and decides to have a 5th child. They might say, "We've had 4 boys in a row. The next one must be a girl. The odds are in our favor now." This is incorrect. With each pregnancy, the probability of having a girl remains roughly the same, around 50%, regardless of how many boys came before. This fallacy is dangerous because it's the foundation of gambling addiction. The gambler who loses repeatedly convinces himself that his big win is inevitable. So he keeps playing until he loses everything. How to avoid it? Always remember, in truly random events, the past does not influence the future. Every event is a new page. The 22nd fallacy, the exact opposite of the hasty generalization, the accident fallacy. This fallacy occurs when we apply a correct general rule to a specific exceptional case to which the rule does not apply. We forget that there is an exception to every rule. The general rule: lying is wrong. But imagine it's 1942, and you are hiding an innocent family in your basement, and a Nazi officer knocks on your door and asks, "Are you hiding anyone here?" If you apply the general rule blindly and tell the truth, you would have committed a catastrophe. In this exceptional case, lying is not just permissible. It is a duty. Another example: the general rule. People should keep their promises. But if you promised a friend to return his weapon, and then you discover he intends to use it in a fit of rage to kill someone, keeping your promise would be the wrong thing to do. This fallacy is dangerous because it leads to rigid, bureaucratic thinking and ignores context and common sense. How to avoid it? Before applying any general rule, always ask yourself, are there special or exceptional circumstances in this case that make the rule inapplicable? The 23rd fallacy, a cunning one that uses apparent precision to deceive us. The Texas sharpshooter fallacy. Imagine a sharpshooter from Texas who fires randomly at the side of a barn, then walks over and draws a target circle around the biggest cluster of bullet holes, and then claims to be a skilled marksman. He didn't hit the target. He drew the target around his hits. This fallacy occurs when we selectively choose a data set to fit a specific conclusion and ignore all other data that doesn't fit. We see a pattern in randomness and then act as if that pattern was intended from the start. An example from horoscopes: a person reads their daily horoscope which says, "You will face an unexpected challenge today." During the day, their printer suddenly jams. At the end of the day, they say, "Amazing! The horoscope was exactly right." They ignore all the normal events and focus only on the random hit that occurred. This fallacy is the basis of many conspiracy theories, where specific events are cherry-picked and linked together to form a story, while ignoring hundreds of other events that contradict that story. How to avoid it? Look at all the evidence, not just the evidence that confirms the hypothesis. Ask, was the hypothesis defined first and then the data gathered to test it? Or was the data gathered first and then a hypothesis invented to fit it? The 24th fallacy, very common in ethical debates. The appeal to nature. This fallacy assumes that whatever is natural is necessarily good, and whatever is unnatural is necessarily bad. Its slogan, "This product is 100% natural," so it's healthy. Or this behavior exists in the animal kingdom, so it's morally justified. This is a huge mistake. Nature is full of poisons, snake venom, disasters, earthquakes, and diseases, viruses. Conversely, many unnatural things are good, like medicine and law. Example asterisk in a debate about GMO foods, someone might say, "We must reject them. They are unnatural." This is an emotional argument. To evaluate them, we must look at the scientific evidence about their safety and benefits, not just whether they are natural or not. How to avoid it? Don't assume natural equals good. Evaluate everything based on its actual merits and drawbacks, not its origin. The 25th fallacy, one of the most frustrating in any debate, moving the goalposts. This fallacy occurs when someone changes the criteria for accepting an argument after evidence has been presented that meets the original criteria. Imagine you're taking a penalty kick, and after you kick the ball, the goalkeeper picks up the goal and moves it somewhere else, then tells you, "You missed." Example asterisk. Person A, "There's no proof humans landed on the moon." Person B, "Here are the photos, the rocks, and the laser reflectors that are still used today." Person A, moving the goalposts. But you can't prove the astronauts themselves weren't brainwashed. The requested evidence was provided, but the opponent changed the standard of proof to something impossible. This makes the debate dishonest. How to deal with it? Point out the fallacy clearly. Say, "We initially agreed the standard of proof was X. I have provided evidence for X. Now you are changing the standard to Y." This is not an honest discussion. Your tone of voice now shifts to a concluding, inspiring one. The gambler's fallacy, the accident fallacy, the Texas sharpshooter, the appeal to nature, and moving the goalposts. With this, we have completed our foundational arsenal with 25 logical fallacies. You now not only have a shield to defend your mind, but also a magnifying glass through which you can examine any argument, speech, or advertisement you encounter. But is this the end? Of course not. This is only the end of the beginning. Together, we have mastered the first level, and there are over 100 other fallacies that have been classified. What comes next will be denser and deeper. We will dive into other classes of fallacies, more subtle linguistic and psychological ones. And more importantly, we will move from defense to offense. We will learn the foundations of formal logic itself. We will study the fundamental laws of thought like the law of identity and the law of non-contradiction, ***, which states that something cannot be both itself and its opposite at the same time and in the same respect. This series was about detecting deception. The upcoming series will be about constructing truth. Thank you for following this foundational journey. Tell me in the comments, what is the most important fallacy you learned that changed the way you think? I'll see you in the next episode.